It might seem hard to believe, but did you know that there was a chicken who survived for a number of years without having a head? It seems far-fetched, but it's true. Well, Mike the Headless Chicken was born in April 20, 1945, in Fruita, a city in Colorado, and he originally had a head. However, when his owners were planning to have Mike sold at the market in September of 1945, farmer Lloyd Olson aimed to behead Mike the chicken with the swing of an axe. But what happened next has had scientists puzzled for decades to come. Let's begin with a bit of context as to what usually happens when a chicken's head is cut off. According to Dr. Wayne Gwenzel, a poultry physiologist and biologist at the University of Arkansas, the way that a chicken skull is composed leaves two large openings where the eyes are placed and the brain is tucked away in a slightly different portion of the skull. Needless to say, even if the brain is removed, there's a high chance that the brainstem and the cerebellum will remain intact. Removing the chicken's head instantly starves the brain from receiving oxygen, and without having a functioning brain that will send signals to the rest of the body and organs. However, there is still some remaining oxygen within the body, mainly the spinal cord, which is why chickens can usually live for around 15 minutes without a head before the body and organs no longer have access to oxygen. So why did Mike live for nearly 18 months without a head? For starters, the way that Mike's head was removed left a small portion of the brainstem intact, which allowed for the flow of oxygen to continue to move through Mike's brain and body. In the axe that was used for the beheading also missed the jugular vein and a clot formed, which stopped Mike from losing a mass amount of blood. As a result of Lloyd Olson's failed attempt, Mike was able to survive for 18 months, where he could run, had steady balance, and was even able to make growling sounds that would let Olson know that he was trying to crow. When looking at the anatomy of a chicken, most of the mobility functions, breathing and the heart rate are controlled by the brainstem, and since Mike's was left undamaged, this was one of the determining factors in what allowed Mike to survive for 18 months without a head. Now, don't get me wrong, Mike was still a bit clumsier without a head, but aside from that, he was able to live a relatively comfortable life. The day after the failed beheading, Olson even mentions that he saw Mike attempt to peck for food on the ground as if he still had a head. After Olson realized that Mike was still full of life, he decided to take care of Mike, feeding him with an eyedropper, and very quickly, Mike became a phenomenon that eventually became famous because simply, people had to see Mike the Headless Chicken with their own eyes to believe it. Olson put Mike on display in a traveling sideshow for all to see for a charge of 25 cents per head, no pun intended, which equals to over $3 American in 2019. Mike the Headless Chicken brought in such a crowd. Olson was earning an extra $4,500 a month from people who traveled far and wide, which today would be an astonishing $50,000, and was also featured in magazines. In March 1947, Mike the Chicken took his final bow for the crowd, passing away in a Phoenix motel after choking on fluid buildup in his neck after his owner, Lloyd Olson, misplaced the eyedropper that was used to clear Mike's consistent fluid buildups. Mike's death was kept a secret by Olson, who didn't want to admit that he wasn't able to keep Mike alive after choking, and he told the public that he had sold Mike on the road, leaving a significant part of Mike the Headless Chicken's roadshow unfinished. Even though Mike did die after 18 months, his legacy is still very much alive, and Fruit of Colorado organized a festival in honor of Mike the Headless Chicken each May. The festival is home to different events each year, such as 5K or 10K marathons, live music and wing-eating contests. Believe it or not, there are many people who believe that Mike the Headless Chicken, or even the idea that a chicken could survive a decapitation, is impossible. In fact, many still would argue that the story of Mike the Headless Chicken is a hoax, meant to be an act to amaze an audience on the road. However, as mentioned in this video, it is completely possible for a chicken to survive longer than the expected 15 minutes after their head is cut off. As long as the brainstem and jugular vein remain unharmed, there is a good chance that a chicken could survive. So, what do you think? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you learned something new today.